My name is Pastor Marcus, and I want to take a few moments to share thoughts on the resource Connecting and Sharing Jesus in a Postmodern World. As believers in the Western world, the most important thing for us to recognize is that while our cities were once considered parts of a Christian nation, they no longer are. What I mean by this is there was a time in Western history where most people in our cities or towns knew about church, they knew about God, and they knew about the Bible. They respected the pastor, and even if they didn't believe, they had a working understanding of who Jesus was and what the Bible was all about. But those days have long faded. Today, very few people in your neighborhood have ever set foot in a church. I have spoken to people who never even heard of a pastor, never read a Bible, and had no idea what denominations even were, let alone Adventists. What this means is, as believers in a Western continent, we have to begin seeing ourselves as missionaries in a mission field. And missionaries have to master three key things in order to be effective at sharing the gospel. The first one is they have to learn the language of the people that they're reaching. And new generations in the West no longer speak the same language as older generations. Yes, it's still English, but language is deeper than verbs and nouns. It also carries meanings and moods that you can't understand unless you spend time listening to people and learning about them. So number one, learn the language of your neighbors by spending time with them. Number two, contextualize the truth of Scripture to the language of the people. This is a powerful tool that we see Jesus and Paul using over and over again in Scripture. For example, to a Pharisee that believed he was going to heaven simply because he was born a Jew, Jesus said, "You must be born again." But to a Samaritan woman who felt alone and unsatisfied, Jesus didn't say, "You must be born again." That wouldn't have made any sense to her. Instead, he said, "I am the living water." To the Thessalonians, Paul opened up Scripture, but to the Athenians on Mars Hill who'd never read Scripture, he quoted their own poets and religion. In all of this, the same truth was being proclaimed, but it was adapted, contextualized to the hearer. And because people speak and see the world in different ways, far removed from our church language and beliefs, we need to develop the skill of contextualization. Finally, number three, live incarnationally. Jesus redeemed the world not by preaching at it or to it, but by coming here and walking among us. This is the incarnation. God became man. But this mystery also models for us the most effective way to reach others, to incarnate into their world. Preaching at and to people rarely works, but spending time with people, doing life with them, fostering close relationships and community, that's where the beauty happens. And you can't actually do steps 1 and 2 without doing this third one. They're all interconnected because relationship is what it's all about. So as you explore the resource Connecting and Sharing Jesus in a Postmodern World, keep these three keys in mind. And remember, you are not a church member. You're a missionary in one of the world's most difficult mission fields. Follow Jesus' rhythms, and you will see the gospel take root in your city.